Hello and welcome to March and welcome to the madness that is BuffSports Live. I'm Jack Harlow alongside Mitchell Sanchez, and we have a jam-packed show for you today. Are you excited for the show, Mitch?
I am excited for the show. But enough of the talk, let's get into some of the action.
Well, what kind of action are you talking about?
We've got men's and women's basketball highlights and everything you need to satisfy your sports hunger.
The women's basketball team played their home finale against the Washington Huskies on Sunday. It was an emotional senior day as Alexis Robinson was forced to sit out with an injury. Colorado went to lose the contest 60-49. Freshman Emma Clark led the team with 15 points. With the loss, Washington is now one game ahead of Colorado for the 11th seed in the Pac-12. Colorado will wrap up the regular season in Los Angeles with matchups against UCLA and USC. Gourmet Vinay has more from the CU Events Center.
Tonight's game between the Colorado Buffaloes and the Washington Huskies was the final home game of the season, and because of that, the Buffaloes honored their seniors, Kennedy Leonard and Alexis Robinson. Now, Robinson was out for this game because of an injury, but she suited up and was there for the opening tip. Maya Hollingshed tipped the ball to her. It's been that kind of season for the Buffaloes. Alexis Robinson and Kennedy Leonard have both been injured. They've played together in just 14 of the 27 games this season. Alexis Robinson has missed 3 games so far. Leonard missed 10 games in the middle of the season.
When Lex is out, we lose our best three-point shooter, one of our most experienced guards, along with Kennedy, that can handle the basketball, one of our better defenders. And just the experience. So again, it's the same thing that Brian's alluding to. In this game, we needed as much, experience on the floor as we could, and especially people that can create.
Now, when it's all said and done for Colorado, both of these players will be all over the leaderboards. Alexis Robinson is 20th all-time in points for Colorado's women and 8th in three-pointers made. On the other side, Kennedy Leonard, a 2-time All-Pac-12 player, is the Colorado leader in assists. She's top 10 in steals, points, three-point shots made, and free throws. The two seniors came to Colorado in 2015-2016 when Linda Lappy was the head coach. They stayed through all of the years of Coach J.R. Payne, and before this game today, they were honored for their time here at Colorado. And afterwards, both took time to speak to the fans. The Buffaloes lost this game 60-44. They're headed to Los Angeles next for their final 2 games before they go to Las Vegas for the Pac-12 tournament. Vinay Simlot, BuffSports Live.
Heading into Pullman, the Buffs had to like their chances of extending a 5-game win streak. But as the cannibalistic nature of the Pac-12 goes, Colorado dropped a nail-biter 76-74 to the lowly Washington State Cougars. In a seesaw contest that featured 22 lead changes and 12 ties, the Buffs couldn't put together a consistent stretch of good basketball. The turning point came when Washington State went on a 9-0 run late in the second half. McKinley Wright was forced to temporarily exit the game.
After a heartbreaking loss in Pullman, the team traveled across state to Seattle looking to redeem themselves against a Husky team ranked atop the conference. The Buffs fell behind by 8 at halftime and couldn't close the gap the rest of the way, dropping their second straight game 64-55. The Huskies had 18 points off 19 Colorado turnovers to pull away with a victory. Matisse Thybulle led the way for Washington with 19 points and 6 steals. Tyler Bay had 20 points and 12 boards to the Buffs' losing effort. Colorado has now dropped 4 straight at the Alaska Airlines Arena. With another impressive performance against Washington, Tyler Bay has recorded 5 double-doubles in the past 7 games.
That's right, Mitch. Bay's streak started when he tied Josh Scott's single-game rebounding record with 17 boards against Oregon. The sophomore now has 11 double-doubles on the season and 13 for his career. He's shown tremendous growth since last season and figures to be an integral component of the Buffs' final homestand and beyond.
The women's lacrosse team faced off against the 25th-ranked Michigan Wolverines on Sunday. It was a defensive battle where only 14 goals were scored. Unfortunately for the Buffs, they ended up 2 goals shy in the scoring column. Michigan scored 8 times, while Colorado only scored 6. Senior Samantha Nemerov led the Buffs offensive with 2 goals scored, but the Buffs struggled to find the back of the net all game long. With the loss, CU falls to 1-3 on the season. They'll start the Pac-12 portion of their week next week, a week from today, against Stanford.
Seniors Miranda Stinson and Samantha Nemerov have been making a major impact for the women's lacrosse team. Last week, Stinson was just named to the 2019 T. Wharton Award watch list. Stinson and Nemerov are tied for a team-high 9 goals. Both players have taken a major step forward, replacing the void left by former standout Dabby Kiernan. They are major reasons why the women's lacrosse team is currently ranked 6th in the country.
For our trivia question this week, we have something big in store. We spent hours calculating this week's question. As a group of journalists, we stepped out of the box and did some math this week to give you a new way of looking at the men's basketball team. For this week's trivia question, we ask, how many Buffaloes does the men's basketball team combined weigh? We'll have that answer for you later in the show.
That's a tough one. What do you think the answer is, Mitch?
I have no idea. Let me do some research and get back to you on this one.
I know you guys are just dying to find the answer, but first we must come to our first break of the show. We'll have Christina on Buff Banter coming up next, along with some Buff tennis and track and field updates. So stay with us.
We'll be right back on Buff Sports Live.
3, 2, 1, we're clear.
Hey Rach, have you heard about the Buff Sports Live desk troll?
There's no such thing, Jake.
Oh my God. In 1992, he bit an anchor's foot clean off during the show.
No way.
She mispronounced a name. We're back on Buff Sports Live. Unbelievable women's basketball game last night.
Wendy D. Kenner was amazeballs.
Well, the show must go on. She had a triple-double in 60 minutes of play as the Buffs went on to win.
It's the greatest mascot in college athletics. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, and you're watching Buff Sports Live.
Hello, and welcome back to Buff Sports Live. I'm Christina Robin with Buff Banter to tell you about the upcoming spring football schedule. The first practice session of the spring will begin on Monday, March 18th, with a spring game set to follow on Saturday, April 27th at noon. You'll remember that the spring game last year was held on St. Patrick's Day, but Coach Mel wanted to push it back. The team is in the process of a 9-week program with 15 practices, not including strength and conditioning. The NCAA only allows contact in 12 of the team's 15 practices, and the first 2 practices of the spring must be no contact. Spring break is not included in the 29 days of preparation, so the team can soak up some sun to reboot before they return to the field ready to dominate. The spring game gives Tucker a chance to showcase his skills to the Colorado fan base. He hopes to show a team of disciplined and prepared players. He stresses the importance of position-specific training and strength and conditioning to ensure that players know what's expected of them. The Buffs will hit the field running, with some of their key players becoming upperclassmen, but can also include early enrollment freshmen. Attendance is free for spring ball, so swing by and watch the Buffs as it starts to warm up. Are you ready for some football?
The women's tennis team won a 5-2 bout over South Dakota last Saturday. The team took a clean sweep on the doubles points and won 4 of the 5 completed singles matches. Sarah Nair and Megan Forster started the day with a 6-3 win in their number 2 doubles match. With Annabelle Andrino-Polos in the doubles lineup, she was pulled out of her singles match. Tallulah Farrow defeated Emma Tranberg 10-4 in the tie-breaking match to secure the win.
The tennis team followed up a huge win against South Dakota with a nail-biter loss to the Boise State Broncos 4-3. Colorado showed resilience, tying the set up at 1 apiece before the Broncos scored 3 straight points to pull away. Monica Malinin had another impressive performance, winning yet another singles match. Tallulah Farrow and Kai Ekton also had victories in the singles portion of the competition, but their teammates were unable to come away victorious. CU will have the next week off before starting the Pac-12 portion of their schedule next Friday at 2:30.
Over the weekend, the track and field team had a great showing at the NPSF Championships. Numerous buffs set personal bests in addition to school records. Notable feats included 2 runners coming in first in the women's 500-meter dash and men's 200-meter respectively.
Joe Klecker's 3-minute and 58-second time was good enough to put him in qualification for men's nationals. In his CU career, Klecker has finished 3 events in the top 16. With these results, the team has had at least 5 athletes who have qualified for nationals.
With their outstanding effort in Seattle, Gabby Scott made her way into the Colorado track and field record books. Scott became the first women's sprinter to reach the NCAA Indoor National Championship since Hannah Cooper did so in 2002. She also became the first buff to qualify for the 400-meter dash since Leona Russell in 1996.
Next weekend, the Indoor Track and Field National Championship will take place in Birmingham, Alabama on Friday and Saturday. All the events will be aired online on ESPN3. CU will have 7 participants competing in 6 races. Events include the 3,000 and 5,000 meter sprints, as well as the mile run and the 400-meter dash. Both Klecker and Morley are participating in 2 events. The men's 5,000-meter run will have 2 participants from CU. 3 of the times runners from Colorado have posted are currently in the top 8 nationally. The best time was Klecker's 4th place finish in the men's 3,000-meter run. Did you get all of that, Jack?
I think so. Anyway, we're moving right along here at Buff Sports Live. After the break, we're bringing back one of our favorite segments, Man on the Street. We'll also have a few soccer and ski team updates.
We are the University of Colorado sailing team and still the only college sailing team in Colorado. Last year, we traveled to 5 regattas and hosted our own using a fleet we bought with community support.
This year, we're raising money to purchase a safety boat that will take care of our sailors and lead effective practices to get them in tip-top shape to kick stern at regattas.
Weather changes happen quickly in Colorado, so we need to be prepared in case anyone ends up in the water. A safety boat with a proper engine will help make sure we can get people and boats to safety in the event of a capsize.
Safety is our team's top priority, and this boat will help us prepare for worst-case scenarios. This boat will put us on track for being the safest, the fastest, and the most effective team in our conference.
Donate today to help us reach our $4,000 goal and get CU Sailing motivated. Share to everyone you know to spread the word. With your help, we'll be on our way to be a safer and more successful program.
Across all schools and sports in the Pac-12, Colorado has the least D1 varsity teams at only 14, while Stanford is at the highest at 24. With plenty of room to grow, the athletic decision makers may be keeping an ear out for sports that will catch student attention. For this week's edition of Man on the Street, Gracie Francis and Cabrini Klepper went around campus asking people, if Colorado were to add a new sport, what would it be? Here's what they had to say.
One sport do you wish that we had at CU?
Baseball.
And why is that?
Cute boys in baseball uniforms.
What D1 sport do you wish that they had at CU and why?
Competitive donut eating. It'd be hilarious.
Why would it be funny?
Well, if you think about it, if people keep eating donuts, you know, the more donuts you eat, the bigger of a guy you're gonna get. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but it'd be hilarious.
Ping pong.
Probably ping pong, just because I've played it for a really long time, and I think it's super fun. Can bring people together, so it's awesome.
Why not? Probably frisbee golfing, because I've done it and it's fun. I don't really have any other reason besides that.
What D1 sport do you wish that we had at CU and why?
A good sport would be pool, and because I'll be good at the team.
Double reverse water cup kickball. It's like you play kickball, but you have 2 people and they go around backwards, and everyone has to carry a cup of water without spilling it.
and I want to see it at CU because it just seems like such a great sport, and I would love to actually see a game played. Currently, I can only play that with like Reed, my friend, and that's it. So I would like to see it played with like 20 people, maybe dozens. I don't know.
Frisbee, because it's a good teamwork sport and there's a lot of communication needed.
Gracie, what D1 sport do you wish that they had at CU?
Probably parkour.
Parkour! I'm Cabrini.
I'm Gracie. Back to you.
One of the newest D1 teams in the conference are the men's and women's hockey teams at Arizona State. The former club teams were elevated by a private donation of $32 million from two sources. One remains anonymous. The other was the successful father of a former player. So it seems the quickest way to have a new club sport or a new varsity sport is for our club teams to look for wealthy recruits.
While spring training started for teams across Major League Baseball last week, the women's soccer team is in the midst of their preseason workouts. Colorado will play 5 exhibition matches, starting with a contest against the Real Colorado Boys next Friday. 4 of the 5 games will be played at home, with the lone road matchup being played against BYU. The exhibition schedule will conclude against the Wyoming Cowboys on April 27th. The team is facing lofty expectations as they return 6 seniors. The group includes midfielders Taylor Korniak and Tatum Barton as well as goalkeeper J.J. Tompkins.
Last year, we visited the home of Colorado goalkeeper Scout Watson to explore the living dynamic between her and her teammate, J.J. Tompkins. On Monday, Watson will join the training camp of the National Women Soccer League's Seattle Reign. Watson won't be making the trek to the Emerald City by herself. She'll be joined by Buffs forward Jorian Balcom. After playing her first 3 years at LSU, Balcom had a historic senior year in Boulder. Her 12 goals were the second most in a single season by a Buff. The duo will have just over a month to get up to speed as the Reign begin their season April 13th.
The NCAA Selection Committee announced Tuesday that the Colorado ski team will send a full 12-member team to the NCAA Championships in Vermont. The Buffs will be looking for their 21st NCAA championship and the 9th under coach Richard Rokos, third most in NCAA history. The team will head east on Saturday to start the training before the Nordic freestyle race begins Wednesday.
The WWCHL tournament in Las Vegas marks the end of the women's hockey season. The team headed into last weekend ranked 7th in the ACHA rankings. Friday, they ended the day with a 3-1 win over ASU and an 8-0 win over GCU. The team entered semifinals against CSU on Saturday, winning the game 13-0. But after a 3-2 overtime loss to Midland on Sunday, the team fell to 9th in the rankings. This bumps them out of the top 8 and eliminates their chance of being invited to the national tournament. Which is so unfortunate, Jack, since the women's hockey team were the national champions last year. After another short break from the action, we'll have the answer to that trivia question we asked.
And of course, the tweet of the week. Is that a fire I smell?
No, Jack, that is just Taylor with Rapid Fire, coming to you hot after the break.
Deserves a second look. Michael taking off, the patented tongue comes out. Just in front of that line. Look at this, the double clutch, the reach. Pass on left wing, looks behind him, wide open, right wing, up top, open for 3, fires.
Really good basketball, Mark. Unselfish, smart basketball.
Open for 3, fires, nothing but nylon from downtown. Good ball move by Colorado.
Coming back at you with the hottest segment in all of sports, this is Rapid Fire. To kick things off, we have women's basketball as they have a home game tonight at 8 p.m. taking on USC. This is the women's second to last game before the start of the Pac-12 tournament. Up next, we have men's basketball as they take on the Utah Utes tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the CU Event Center. The men have 3 games left before the Pac-12 tournament starts up. Women's basketball will remain on the road taking on UCLA Sunday at 1:30 p.m. in their final game of regular season. Finishing up the week, we have skiing. They are in Vermont for the NCAA Championships all day Wednesday. With regular season coming to an end, it's important that you go out and support your Buffs. Whew, what a hot lineup coming up this week, but I think it's time that we cool down and take you back to studio. I'm Taylor Sadesky, and Go Buffs.
This week's Tweet of the Week comes straight from the CU Buffs Twitter account, and if you spent any time covering Colorado football, this is a name you'll recognize. The tweet reads, "Congratulations to Dave Platty on being selected to the COSIDA News Hall of Fame class of 2019. Platty has been the head of Colorado sports information for 35 years. On the induction, former CU coach Dan Hawkins said, quote, administrators, coaches, professors, students, they all come and go. But Dave has been there longer than all of them. Congratulations, Dave."
Earlier in the show, we asked you how many buffaloes the men's basketball team equals based on their combined weights. We used the average weight of a female buffalo, which is about 1,000 pounds, and if our math is correct, the answer is 3.5 buffaloes. Let's just hope Ralphie isn't too self-conscious about her weight.
Well, it's with a heavy heart that we have to say goodbye. It's been quite a show, and of course, a nice distraction from studying for midterms.
Midterms? Oh, shoot. See you next week, Buffs fans.
See you, Jack.